and Mastering Modern Selling. Tom Burton
Woohoo!
here with my co-host Brandon Lee, and Carson is wrapping up his Florida vacation. And Brandon, it sounds like you're starting your Florida vacation tomorrow.
Well, it's not a vacation. I have business meetings in Tampa, but you know
Uh,
what? Anytime you're in Florida, it's kind of a vacation, right?
yeah. So anyway, Carson's had, I think, had a couple weeks down here. He'll be back with us next week. But again, we have a great guest to fill in for Carson's absence. Juan Pablo Garcia, live from Spain. Not quite Barcelona, but close to Barcelona, right?
Yes, right. That's great. I live between Barcelona and Tarragona. I
Yeah.
don't know if people knows this place. It's awesome. I really like to live here. I'm really happy about the culture, the place, and everything. I'm not native Spanish, but I've been here for 21 years now.
Well, as you were just saying, when it's 9:30 there, and
Yes.
you're going to be thinking about going to dinner in a couple hours. So after the
Yes.
show is over, that's normal dinner time there.
Yes.
So
This. Yes.
so we're going to talk about a subject today that, Brandon, we've touched on this, I think, a couple of times over the last 97 episodes, but well, we had Julie Hansen on, right? We talked
Yeah.
quite a bit about video and video prospecting, but we're going to take a deeper dive.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Julie was really talking more about video conversations more than prospecting. That's why I've really been excited for Juan Pablo and he shared with me several times on LinkedIn messaging about his system he uses with video prospecting. And I think we've talked a bit about, oh yeah, you should use video or send videos to people in LinkedIn messages, be different. But we've never really talked about a system or what that actually looks like. So we brought the master Juan Pablo in to come and teach us.
That's right.
This is an exaggeration from your part. And the other thing is that if I have to fill the slot left by Carson Hedy, he is one of my heroes. So I don't want to have that responsibility over my shoulders.
No, you have all that responsibility. Carson's not here, and you need to carry the load.
Yeah.
Speaking about video prospecting, I'm not an authority, but I learned the hard way things that work, things that don't work. So I'm really interested in helping your audience and you to understand what I found during these latest years, really practicing this. And if you want, I can share some basic stuff with you, and then we can go deeper if you have questions and things.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start off, Juan Pablo, tell us a little bit about your background, what you do, how you got into
Yes.
video prospecting, and then, we'll get into the system and then kind of keep peeling the onion from there to see, what's the right way to go.
Okay, that's a great point. So I can start with the story. If you ask me what I do, I've been my whole life, I'm 56, I think. Yes, 50, 55, about to be 56 in 1 week, in 2 weeks. And I've been my whole life selling technology. I've been selling technology since I started selling Apple computers and Apple related computers in the ages where you can see the Wire magazine, the doom of Apple will fail, they will disappear. So I'm such old guy. So the first job I had here when I arrived to Spain maybe 21 years ago, this will help me depict the whole situation about video prospecting, because I think that selling evolves, changes, but there are things that never change. So I had one colleague in the first company I started working here in Barcelona that his day was like this. He will arrive driving a motorcycle first in the morning. He will be there. You will arrive to there, and he will be and he was like in a hurry. In a hurry for what? He was grabbing a cup of not a cup, the machine for the coffee on the table, get a list of names, numbers, or whatever. 1 hour or 2 hours calling people. When he was finished with that, helmet again, running onto the motorcycle, off he went, and then the next time you will see him was next day. And then the other time you will see him was when they say the best seller of the company is Raul Lopez Puig. That's the guy. So he was doing, what was he really doing? He was having conversation with people. That's what I think is our main job. But he had a really important detail, I think, in my opinion, is that he was an expert in what he was talking about. It's not that, I will wing it. And in my opinion, to sell is to help. So our main job is to help people. you can't help someone if you don't know what's your value or what do they need. So that thing never changed. So how should I position video selling? It's just to be in contact to people. You have to be in contact with people. People is in digital media today. After COVID, especially, people is more used to be on screen like we are here, or to receive videos or to send videos. And then at our age, I have teenage kids, and then you say, what are they doing? You remember 5 or 6 years ago, people was making jokes, or the teenagers are all day texting there. What are they doing? They are communicating. That's their way of communicating with other people. It's not that they are obsessed with the phone, with the media. They are just interacting with people. So I think that video is a way to do that. And the main thing that I want to speak with you tonight for me is like, I see that there are several details in video prospecting that are done absolutely wrong, and people say this fails or this is not working for me because of this and this and that. If you ask me, this is not working because of A, B, and C, I will tell you A, B, and C are the recipe for disaster. It will never work like that. So that's my position around this. And then the other thing is, it's a part. It's not, I'm not recording videos all day and that's the only thing I do. I still consider that the best thing to do is what Raul did 21 years ago and still doing, because I went to he works for Adobe Education today, and he went to his office. He was not there, of course. He was selling someplace. And I asked a colleague, where's Raul? Oh, yes, Raul is our colleague. This is his desk. His desk was covered by awards, presidential club, trip to Bahamas. Everything that you will understand that a successful sales guy will have in his desk was there, because that's what he does. That's the main thing to do, not video prospecting. Video prospecting is something, but if you do it wrong, it will create more harm than good, and we should focus on that.
So Raul sounds like a Spanish version of Carson.
Yeah.
Raul, yes, of course. I read the full series of Salesman on Fire, and I love that. And it's, yes. And I know a lot of Rauls around the world in other companies. You know the profile. Yeah. The guy is focused, but he's not focused. People sometimes mistake. They say, oh, successful sellers are greedy. They don't have time. No, they don't have time to lose. And they always focus on helping people and knowing people and interacting with people. And they are experts managing internal resources. That's another really good characteristic of successful sellers.
So before we get into the system, let's define, because I think there could be people that are wondering, what exactly do you mean by video prospecting? And how does that differ from, Brandon, what you do on LinkedIn or what you do on here? What exactly is video prospecting and how it differs from other use of video?
Okay, I will define it in my own terms related to what we have been sharing until now. Is to use video to achieve the first goal that I consider that you have to do when you speak with someone. Remember, when you create an opportunity in Salesforce and your boss asks you, who do you know there? That's the main thing. Do you know anyone? So the first goal is to know people. If we don't know people, we can't do business with anyone. If you are unknown, there's no way to interact with people and to advance opportunities to help people. So video prospecting is using video with modern social channels. The main one is LinkedIn. So the first goal that you can achieve with that is to know people and to be known, and also to understand, and then to be understood. It's not the other way around. First, zero status is they don't know me. Second status is they know me and I understand them. How do you understand them? Interacting, having dialogues. That's one of the main mistakes I see in video prospecting that I will tell you. It's the matter of timing. Timing is crucial. It's something that we can speak about.
So just real quick, Brandon, would video prospecting then be the objective of that is to get that ultimately to get that conversation, to get a conversation with somebody, a live conversation? That is the objective of doing video prospecting. Is that the ultimate goal?
it had, yes, exactly. To create the live conversation conditions is the goal, but it's not immediate. This is a really, it's one of the main confusions, because maybe I'm being disorganized with this, but this matters to say this here. People that says video prospecting is not working for me, and then if you speak about the technique, is to record a video of yourself and sending it to someone.
Right.
So if I connect with you, with what I will do is I connect with you in LinkedIn, and then I will send you a video. First rule I use, and the first rule people is not using, is I never ask for anything. It's like if you see, I don't know, Top Gun, when Tom Cruise, Maverick, goes to the bar and dances, and the lady, instead of smiling, she's saying, oh, you are going to try to take me in the boat in the next session of the movie because it's too fast. So you can't rush people. If you don't know them and they don't know you, in my vision and in my experience, you can't ask for anything. So people say, oh, if you don't ask for anything, what do you do? I present myself. If I have to tell you how I do it, it's like, hi, Tom. Imagine I'm recording a video. Hi, Tom. Thanks for connecting with me. I'm here on LinkedIn because I like to share interesting stuff about what we do and learn about the things that matter to everyone. Let's make this place a better place. Thanks. Bam. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Because the video prospecting has several layers. You say, oh, the first one is to be known and to know people and to understand. While you understand or try to understand, and then you have to be understood, you have to maintain a dialogue. This thing that we used to be I remember the first work I had here in Spain, I didn't have a car. I went by train 45 degrees to go and visit someone and then come back, one visit per day. Today with video, you can do like, I personally have like 40 or 50 dialogues per day with different people. So what's that? Is that I send you this, and then let's speak about some numbers. The reply ratio of this kind of action was higher than what I'm going to tell you. This is changing really fast. Maybe people is implementing this today, and in 3 months, it's not working anymore because of some things that we can go. But my experience with real numbers, and I do it a lot, I do it consistently, is like more or less between 20 and 40% of the people that receive this video will say something positive about that. Say, oh, thanks for the video, I love it, or thumbs up, something. What's the next step? I will not tell him, oh, I see, I sell Marketo services in remote countries. I sell into United States and other places far from Spain. So it's not that, oh, and everything I'm explaining, I learned doing it wrong. So I'm trying to explain you the good part, but I did what everyone does.
Sure.
So you know what, when you are connected with someone that you know that they will pitch lap you immediately, they will be automated. So people does some of this also in video. It's like, oh, now that you know me and that I know that you work in this company that you use Marketo, I'm sure I can help you with this, blah, 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 blah. This is a showstopper for me. It will not work. The time is really important. And let me say something, because other thing to avoid is to try to hide, because I was taking a look at this. LinkedIn has 930 million users. 930 million users. And some people tired about this, that people saying, oh, they are pitch lapping me, or they are aggressive. They say, are you trying to help me? I can tell you without any doubt that 930 people in LinkedIn are selling. My title says I sell, but everyone is selling. All of them are selling in LinkedIn. The architect sells buildings. An administrator sells his human power to be hired by someone. A consultant sells that. A marketer sells contacts, networks. A CEO sells his company. So everyone is selling. So if you try to hide that, it's worse. You have to accept.
Pablo, let's go back to the video. So you are, correct me if I'm wrong, if whatever I have wrong here. you're finding your prospects, you're doing searches, you're finding the people who you want to meet that I'm assuming are your ideal customers.
Yes.
You send a connection request. Are you just sending a cold connection request, or do you send a message with that?
No, I consider, and this is, I learned this from other experts and people that knows about this. I consider my profile should be explaining what I do. And if you receive a blank connect from, I always send, I only send blank connects. If you take a look at my profile and you are like in my ICP, you should be interested in connecting with me, and that's it. I don't do anything about doing a special message unless there's an exception. If I hear you saying something that I'm sure that I can help you immediately, maybe my connection request will have something about that. But in general, I only send a blank connection request. Something important that I learned from another guy is that in my summary, I don't speak about myself. I speak about the problems I see in my market. So if they read my profile, they will not see I'm fantastic. I have a dog. I have 3 kids. I've been working since I was a kid. It's what I see in the market, what's my take or our take in our company to try to help them. So they are reflected in that. And the acceptance rate for my blank connect requests is between 50% or a little more. And the selection of the ICP is really precise. And I don't invite people that I think I could not help.
Okay. So you pull up your list, you send out a cold connection request, about 50% of them accept it. And then you immediately will send a video, like the video that you told us, of just introducing yourself.
Yes. This is inserted into, if you want, we can go deeper into that. That's inserted in my daily routine, in my workflow. That I can tell you, because people says, oh, video, this is complicated. I have to have a studio. I have to do this, the perfect make, the camera, everything. And this is related also with authenticity.
Right?
Yeah. Authenticity and vulnerability, that people says how to be authentic, how to, you can't appear authentic. You have to be. So the best way to be is just to show your life. So I've inserted, and I seen you, Brandon, doing this kind of posts in LinkedIn. I really like them because I feel I'm closer to you. Oh, he's at the airport. He's doing this. He's doing that. You are doing that naturally, and for me, I feel closer to you. So right. in my experience, I had all those. We use in our company. We use VDR. We use other tools that the machine to produce video, and they didn't work as the simplest of the workflows that I will describe today works. I'm integrating this in my morning walks with the dogs after I take my little kid to the school. So the little kid goes to school, and my method, I describe this as uphill recording, downhill because it's hilly, uphill recording, downhill editing or cutting. At home is like putting it into the template and send. So this is when I have to say something more elaborate, because I'm going too fast. But first, video. Hello, Brandon. This is JP. Thank you. You don't have to edit anything, but I review the list of the new contacts I have, and then I do that natively in the LinkedIn application. Don't do anything. I don't edit nothing. I do just like that. Then the other thing is, the other usage of video that I really have good results with is when I say, okay, this is something that matters in my market and I have something to say. I will create some content. So that's the way to uphill recording, downhill editing. I just use iMovie in the iPhone, and the only thing I do is I cut, and then I glue everything, and I'm walking the dogs. I walk for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and I create a video using that, and then that will be shared with what I consider my audience in LinkedIn that has been created using the first step. So first you connect, then you get closer to them with video messaging, then you have dialogue with them, and then what I do is I segment people by interest, and I say, oh, this thing that I'm speaking today, I will publish this in LinkedIn, and then I will personally share this with this audience, because those are, for example, German companies that have this related to what I'm thinking. So I share that with them. And the other thing I do, and then with this I finish, is that I reuse and reshare what the company produces. Everyone is doing webinars. Sometimes I record webinars from other people. Imagine I'm recording this, and then I get the recording and I do an edit 3 or 4 minutes, and I put a summary on introduction with my thoughts, and then I publish that in LinkedIn. You can look at my profile. Is everywhere is filled of these homemade videos. I publish this and I share with what I call the audience, because this is related with one of the first mistakes is that I don't have results. It's not immediate. You always the mindset is I need to be adding value for people, trying to help them always. So if you try to help people sharing content, you can reuse video and you can do other things. So that's my workflow.
So Tim thinks that your whole secret is that you are taking pictures or videos of your dog in the beach. So I think that summarized it. But I wanted to kind of build on what you were saying, Brandon, because I think there's some nuance here on what JP is saying. So you make a connection request, right? I accept it. You then send a video to me, just an intro. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Blah blah blah. Right? I may reply back going, thanks, Juan Pablo. Great to meet you as well, or whatever. But then what I hear you saying is, whether it's your own content or your company's content, you're kind of curating that content based on the interests that they're there. So you're looking and going, okay, what content would be valuable to Brandon? What content could be valuable to Tom? What could be valuable to Mary? And then I assume you're doing this all through direct message, or
yes.
So you're doing all this.
Yes, I'm doing that all from direct messages. I consider them my audience, and I'm taking the time to do that.
Right. But you're putting the link. No, go ahead, Brandon.
Are you posting video also to LinkedIn so that it's a post, or are you doing only sending it as direct messages to specific people?
No, what I usually do is I post them, but people, unless you are really famous on LinkedIn, you will not have the reach that you expect. And I think that's not a problem at all, because I consider my audience is the contacts I already have. So I publish something on LinkedIn, and then I share that specific post. And in some occasions I say, oh, Mark, I was thinking about you because this relates to this and this and that. I really take the time. I consider that anything that's too easy really is of no value. Too easy, no value in any activity in life. So no shortcuts.
Yeah. So the nuance there, and I think you're right, Tom. So the nuance there is you'll publish posts with different videos, and then you identify your audience, which are your connections. Who would find value in this video? And then what I know about you is you send that to them as a direct message with some very specific reasons why you're sharing a link to that post, which just happens to be another video.
Yes, exactly.
And if it's done properly, though, you really are curating content right to your audience. So you're not just shotgunning everything out to everybody. You're giving content that could be the most relevant to that each of those individuals in your ideal customer profile. And
that's it.
And I would assume that, so the next step is, what are the responses you're getting from that? Are you getting, I'm sure there's some people that, say, stop doing this, or what kind of results are you then, obviously not everyone's going to welcome it, but what kind of results are you seeing? And then where does that lead?
I would say that people saying stop this, maybe less than 1%, but it's way less. Less. If you say how many people do you have in this workflow, maybe 2,000. So that I receive a message saying stop, please, maybe 2 or 3 in total, because there's some things to say about this. First, it's not every day. Second, it's not automated. It's not that they are in a sequence, so they will receive nonsense. And even when you do what I will call hybrid sequences, that you have some human touch on top of something that's automated. If you do that, you can take some time to do it, but it's not automated in a way that, I send this and And I received that from the other end. I said, oh, this is the Friday message from blah, blah, blah. This is automated. Every Friday at 6 p.m. I receive something. There's no one, the same thing I told you. If it's not effort, it's no value. So I perceive that as, oh, this is an automation. I don't care. So I care about what I do. And in some cases, they said the first, the one that her, it was like a bad mouth for me, was one from my vendor we represent. One of the pre-sales guy that maybe I messaged like 90 of them, say, please stop, don't share this with me. I was like, oh, sorry, but this is good for your clients because we do your services. So, but I explained, but it's one case is please stop, and then two more say I'm not interested, but it's not massive, and I'm not anxious at all. And then regarding, let me say something about what Tim is writing here about my dog and the beach and the videos, because this is important, because they were like controversial and until something happened. It was like I started doing this. I say, oh, I will do this. And then one day I had a meeting with my boss and he said, JP, what are you doing? This is not official. This is not a template. You should be doing this. Why don't you do a frequent meeting with marketing? So you arrange the messaging, you agree on the content, you use the template, and blah, blah. And I say, that's impossible, because my method is uphill recording, whatever I want to say, and I'm speaking with people all day. So I will not have time to wait for marketing or whoever to agree in that. So then part of the company went to Las Vegas to a really big event from Adobe. And then in the plane back, my boss was texting me, JP, you are famous. And I say, what do you mean? Everyone knows you. When we say we work at Kapturall, we're saying, oh, Juan Pablo, my friend. And I say, that wasn't my goal. I don't want to be famous, but I want to be known. I want to understand. I want to be understood. So so he was on the plane and was texting. Is this happening to you? No. This happened to Josh and also to Yuri. 3 of us. So I say, okay, so that's what I was doing with the beach, with the dog and whatever. So I know it worked. So and this is related with something we were discussing the previous of these conversations, that you should have some way of tracking what you do, because it's like they say, oh, this is the deep web or the deep funnel. Is that it's not really easy to prove what you are doing. But in my case, it was easier because they had the proof there. Oh, your people knows you. Our market is always speaking about you, asking questions about you. So you are doing something valuable for the company. I wasn't doing it because it was fun. I'm convinced it was working to be known, know people, understand. That was the goal.
Yeah, I like that. I think that I think those are two of the biggest opportunities with LinkedIn. Is as we say, there's two goals that we have for our clients. Number one is that people in your industry are going to say, "Oh, I see you everywhere," and it's not that we're literally everywhere, but they'll see us consistently because we're consistent in LinkedIn. I think the bigger one is the second one that says, that people say, "I feel like I already know you."
Yes.
I think that familiarity, that sense of connection, of course, that's why we call our company Fist Bump, is that there's a difference. When somebody fist bumps you, there's a connection, there's rapport, versus someone that just shakes your hand. And I see the value in how video helps you accelerate that, because you're putting more of your person in front of them in video format, and your voice and your face and your movement and everything, instead of just something coming in writing.
Yes, that's absolutely. And it also helps with something. You know what? You named Julie Hansen. I consider her one of my inspirations to understand that you have to be looking at the camera and everything that she teaches. I love her. And then someday I did a video that was having fun about avatars. So I said, oh, I'm JP's avatar. This is I'm doing that. It was a joke. And Julie wrote me, JP, what technology are you using? I'm afraid this avatar is perfect. And I said, Julie, it was a joke. So it's only something to have fun. So you to use video also reduces the barrier that everyone is having today. Is this for real? is that a person or is a machine creating an automated messages that is getting, oh, I'm thinking about the other thing that's crucial is about using automation that I sometimes I use it, but the main mistake is to use it to persuade using some supposed to be important public information about you. So, like my sister lives in Florida, so I receive an automated message. Oh, I see your sister lives in Florida. So, who cares about that? So people is using that to persuade, and it's a bummer. It's something awful, and we are inundated by that. And the other thing is to use it to prescribe based on what people says. I care about this because I'm doing filling this form and I select this. I'm reviewing this product. So you can use that information automated to prescribe about something. But if you try to persuade, it's a no go for me.
So on the comment, or the once you are starting to curate that content and send it through direct messages, could be anything. How does that usually evolve? Is there some point where you ask for a conversation? Is there, or do you wait for them to ask for a conversation? Or how do you then bridge that from, hey, I'm building a relationship, into actually prospecting opportunities?
Okay, I will say that the main thing to do, I'm in sales and we are legendary to be fighting marketing, but I consider selling a team sport. It's like
Hmm.
I'm the seller. I have colleagues that are in the sales team in my company. We have a marketing department. We do activities. So everything has to be coordinated in some way. So you get people into your funnel or they get people in contact with you at the opportunity level. And one of the main results I got when I do these kind of activities is that people that comes to our webinars, for example, webinars that are highly technical and with a high value, maybe 30 or 40% of those people are my quote unquote quote friends. So they come to our webinars after they meet me or they know me because they are in a conversation with me. So once they are down into the funnel, so they come to the webinars, it's easier for me to ask, oh, I've seen, we've been speaking, we've been dealing with this. Is this a good moment to talk about this thing that you are interested in because you are attending our webinars? Or that's it. That's one part. The other part is that in sometimes it would be really good to say, oh, you change jobs. What are you doing with these Marketo services? Can I help you? Can we do this? And then I have several different stages of people. It's people that, remember I say always be helping. Maybe you will interact with people that's looking for a job. When they find a job, they say, oh, JP, thank you for all your help when I was not working. Now I want to ask you for help with this. Or people change jobs. They will be they already know. Everything boils down to what Brandon said, that you feel closer to people. So that's absolutely real. That's what I think.
So Juan Pablo, when you're sending these direct messages, you're doing it with the purpose for each person. You're not just spraying it. You said there's no automations. When do you know, or when do you think to, or is it always you then invite them to a webinar and that's kind of the way that you try to get them deeper in your funnel? Or at some point, is there a cue or something that happens that you're trying to engage them more at a personal level to create a call?
Sometimes that happens, but it's rare because my strategy, remember I said video prospecting is one of the things you can do. I also email, I also do cold calls, I also use the phones. But in this way, what I do is what, I don't know if you know Justin Michael, but I like what he says about having direct messages with people, having conversations until that happens something that he says, and I believe that for real. He says, is a polarity shift. Is that if you push people, they will be like at the defense. If you have conversations with them and you are really helpful and also curious, if you are curious about what they care about, not your version of your life, it's their problems. If you are curious, they will ask you in some time, they will say, can you help me with this? So that creates the valuable opportunity. It's not as fast as cold calling people and say, oh, I'm trying to sell you this. But I see that in these kind of relationships, this way is much solid. It's not better, it's solid. It also depends on the type of thing you sell. I sell services. high quality services, complex things, it's not easy to sell something to displace a competitor in a call. It's not, oh, tomorrow you are going to do this. Maybe the first stage is that they know us, and they know us in a higher quality way by doing the other thing that just to invading them their day. This is what I practice and what I believe in.
I really do actually I really like the webinar
Mhm.
strategy of inviting your friends, as you would say, right? It's very different to invite your quote unquote friends to a webinar
Mhm.
versus somebody who is a cold prospect. Because what I think will happen is, first of all, you'll get more engagement at the webinar. So it'll just be a better overall experience. They'll likely invite their colleagues to attend those as well. And just the quality of the outcome is going to be much better than somebody who's never heard of you that goes to a traditional webinar, which we all know how webinars are laid out, right? They're laid out to educate and then call to action as we go through. But having that much deeper relationship when they show in is going to make the quality of that webinar result way, way better.
Yeah, and that's I mean, really what I like is Juan Pablo. You're talking about strategically using your personal brand as part of your sales process. I mean, you're networking. We're going back to what Raul did. Yeah, he made calls in the morning, and then he got on his motorcycle and he went and he did face to face with people. And as you said earlier, when you were on the train, it's 45 minutes to somebody. You could have one meeting a day, maybe two. With LinkedIn, yeah, it's two dimensional, it's on a screen, but we can have 50 or more conversations in a day. And it takes just consistency. Pull out your phone and do a little research, look at their LinkedIn profile, look at information about their company. Know, as I like you're saying, is you're quoting Covey, you know, know, and then before you're known, right, you're doing your research and you're trying to add value. You're using, I mean, I remember learning a long time ago, like video is just what they call a richer media. It's because you can have inflection, you have facial expressions, you have your body posture, you can have a little bit more fun with it than just a message, just a written word. And the other thing I really like about it, Juan Pablo, and I think with the proliferation of AI, we can spot AI images. The increase in social posts because of AI, and a lot of these AI images that look kind of murally. I always joke around. This is my Peter Max painting from the 1994 World Cup, but a lot of the AI images that I see are kind of in this style. They're almost murally. That I don't know. There's just something about them, and it's as you're going through a news feed, you see an AI picture. I don't know about everyone else, but my thing, I just kind of move. I just keep going. Like 6 months ago or so, I was more curious about, ooh, how's the AI picture? It wasn't like, oh, the picture captured my attention. It was, oh, it's an AI picture. Is it any good? Video in these types of videos, there's no substitute. You're not using AI, and I'm sure it's coming, but with a personal video for somebody, you're taking time, you're doing it deliberately, and you're sending it to a specific person. And then when you do that with your posts as well, you're creating a persona, you're creating a personal brand about delivering content, delivering information, being known, knowing and being known through video as a rich media. I really like what you're doing.
Okay, thank you. And related to that, I don't know if you've seen that, because I was taking time to analyze that the auto commenting on LinkedIn, that you see that people is the heuristic is like quote the name or add the name and then say something brief about X being incredible or awesome or so. So I was in some post, because this is also important. You have to be, when you say, Tom, that you are inviting your friends. Maybe they are not my friends. It's people that I have frequent dialogue with, but I'm always curious. I'm always trying to help them or trying to feed, not feed, but share with them something interesting. It can be a podcast, it can be something I read, it can be
Right.
anything.
Your curation, you're curating.
Yeah, I'm not trying to convince them to buy from me.
Right.
I'm just trying to understand them and to share who I am. So I take sometimes when I comment in post, I'm really interested in what the poster is saying. I try to do, but then you see those automated things, and then I see, like, I will put you as a bad example, Brandon. Like, you go to a thread in LinkedIn and you say, Brandon Lee is saying, awesome, Tom, that's great about this is really important. Accounting for banks is really important. So when I go to your profile and I search for your comments, and I see that you've done 10 of those automated comments in everywhere, it's absolutely awful. So I created a post about saying, if you're doing this, you are harming your reputation. And then you say your personal brand. To say about what I do that I'm creating my personal brand, maybe it's too greedy. I'm just showing who I am. I think for some, if you say I'm like a quiet guy, I could say I'm an introvert, but this digital world allows me to contact with more people in an open way because it's myself. That's me.
Brandon, it's interesting you mentioned, or Juan Pablo, you mentioned the show that your boss went to. This is yet a great example also of leveraging and amplifying your results at a live show, right? Which we work with as well, because I mean, you look at the amount of money that we spend to go to these shows and our booths and so forth, having people that at least know us and we have credibility with coming by the booth, that's a very different experience than somebody who's never heard of us before. The quality of that conversation is going to be way, way better.
Well, and Tom, I'm gonna kind of toot your horns, and like Kevin with your show, the Around the Horn and wholesale distribution. Kevin tells the stories that he goes to these trade shows and people walk up to him and start talking to him like they're his friend, and he's not even sure who they are. But it's because they log into the show every week. They kind of use you guys as getting the news because of the format of your show, and people feel like they know you. I mean, it's I really like telling this story too. My friend, my good friend now, Natalie Bourne, who we were connected on LinkedIn for quite a while. We had, commented a few times years ago, but it had been years gone by. And I'm sitting at the airport and I've got my AirPods in, I'm writing an email, and she taps me on the shoulder and I look up and she goes, Brandon. And honestly, at first I didn't even know who she was. Like, I looked, I go, hi. Cause I could see she felt like she knew me, and I'm trying to I'm getting a little older. I got to get the brain going in gear. But it was my LinkedIn activity, my videos, the post and everything, that she gave me a great big hug. We had a talk. She's like, I've got customers of mine that need what Fist Bump does. Let's talk. And we've since had breakfast. We text each other. But that never would have happened if I didn't have my videos. Now, I know you're specifically really talking to about using videos in direct messages, but I think using videos on our posts too, it just gives us that richer opportunity to demonstrate to people who we are and to be known and to be liked and to be trusted, or for people to feel like they know us, because in this big old sea of sameness that is LinkedIn, we need to stand out as an individual.
Yes, and also, sorry, Tom, do you want to say something? Sorry.
No, go ahead. I wanted to make sure, though, as we're running out of time here, I want to make sure if there's kind of any other parts of your system, Juan Pablo, that we want to make sure that we cover, because I think this isn't really Brandon, I think this really is a system that he's going through here today.
Yeah.
And I think the system and the philosophy and the practice behind the system is as important as the content itself.
Yeah.
Yes, if I would summarize this about the important things is, one, you have to be consistent. To be consistent, you have to integrate it into your day. It's not I will find the perfect moment. So I'm maybe people I do that, but I don't record videos there. Maybe people take the kids to training for some sports, so you can do that there. It's I send between 10 and 20 videos per day. And for me, it's less than half an hour to these personal videos because they are spontaneous and they are on the spot. So you have to be consistent. The other thing is you don't need to be anxious about expecting immediate results, because remember, one is the personal video. The second is you are building your audience. So anyone that you already send the video, I have something that, to not make this too long, but when I send a video, I keep track of all the videos I send. If someone is not replying, I will send some brief text about, oh, that's what for you. Maybe I do a, have you seen the AI suggestion about the contact message that you feel, oh, great to contact with you, how are you doing? That's something not good. So sometimes I take a screenshot having fun about that and say, Tom, I sent you a video because I hate this. I want to have a personal connection with people. Take a look. So immediate results is between 20 and 15%. Then the other weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, people replies, oh, sorry, I just saw your video. That's awesome, blah, blah, blah. Most of the replies are positive. That's awesome, thank you. And then you continue. And then they are in your audience. And then you do the other thing, sharing the company things and formal videos.
And Juan Pablo, what I find too, and I use a lot of video messages as well, but what I find is that there's with certain people that it just accelerates everything. Like I've had some where I send, now for everybody, I'm going to show this. I've got this little tripod with the remote on it so I can set my phone on it, because to send a video file, you have to do it through the LinkedIn mobile app. You can't do it on your desktop. So I set up my phone. Now I put my phone in here like that. And then when I wanted, I've connected with somebody or something, I look over at my phone, I use the remote, I look at their LinkedIn profile, I get a little bit, I do a quick message. You have 1 minute video. You can't send more than 1 minute. And then I pull out my phone and then I attach it and send it to them as a message. And sometimes, not always, but I'd say every couple of weeks, one of my videos will just accelerate that. Like I had a CEO of a company out of Vancouver, Canada, sent me back a message right away. He's like, oh my gosh, I've never had a video direct message before. That is so cool. And I'm like, well, send one back. It's really easy. He's like, how do I do it? And I taught him how to do it. And then he sent me a video back, and then I sent him a video back. And then we're like, oh my gosh, let's get on a Zoom or a Teams and meet. And it was fun. And it was my ideal customer. Like everything about it was good. It was fun. We connected. We were humans. And I got to have a sales conversation about it. And he didn't buy at the time, but he's still in my list. I still connect with him. I comment on stuff, and who knows when it'll happen. I bet I'll get a referral from him, or he'll become a client at some point, because the starting point of that relationship happened organically and fun, but it's because I took the time to do the video.
Yes, absolutely. You don't have to take so much time, in my view, because it's too fast to say, oh, I've seen this and that. That doesn't need it. Yeah. And the other thing is that I think it's a way of expression. People ask me, you play guitar? Yes, in such way. You play the piano? Yeah, in such way. I draw in such way. But they are means of expression. And I maybe we can close this with this anecdote about my kid. My kid plays the piano, but he plays really well. But because of this, and this reminds me about the iPad controversial advertisement that they say you can replace everything that these great things in life, you can replace that by the iPad. And I say, who cares? Who wants to replace piano playing with something digital? I don't. And so the anecdote about my kid is, he was maybe 9 years old. The piano teacher was coming home every week to teach his older brother. He's 3 years older. And the pianist, to warm up, he was playing the Rondo alla Turca, a really complicated piece of classical music. So my little kid, 9 years old, he said, I want to learn that. So the teacher said, what do you want? I want to learn that. You can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Well, let's try. So he was like 3 years you can ask his brothers, 3 years playing the same thing until now that he plays in churches. They invite him to concerts because he enjoyed the experience. He wasn't worried about doing this brilliantly good. No, he was learning to play the piano, something really hard, a really piece of piano music that was also really hard, and he enjoyed the process. So doing video and doing whatever, writing anything, if we can not cut the needed things to do as humans, the value is seen from the other part a lot. So my son will not change the iPad for the piano, and we should not change this human connection for other things, because sometimes people ask me, can you scale that? No, I don't want to. I don't want to, because you remember when we were young that they say the highway of information because of the internet. Now the highway is like the San Francisco highway at rush hour. We are collapsed by too many things, too many messages. People is automating everything. So if all of us scale at the same time, the bandwidth that we need to be able to process, it's impossible.
You'll never rise above the noise by trying to scale.
We create more noise and we break things. I mean, that's what happened with email marketing now, is that we when email was first started, it was actually really good. It was new, it was novel. And then we automated everything. We did landing pages with a bunch of automation. And then guess what happened?
Yes.
Junk folders. Yes. Why did we create junk folders? Because people were sending junk. Like, so yeah, I like that. Like, I enjoy doing my videos because I know it speaks volumes to somebody I send it to. It's obvious, it's unique, it's to a person. I say, hey, Juan Pablo, how are you? Whatever it may be, it's personal. And it's the one thing I can do that will totally differentiate me from everyone else.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the case. I agree 100%.
Yeah. This has been great. No, I think this is some really good system stuff. In fact, I want to go back and rewatch the Julie Hansen episode and kind of and look at the, because it was very different, right? She was definitely more about how your presence was. And I think this is more of a good way of using that with some of the system. Yeah. Juan Pablo, where can people find out more about you, connect with you? I assume on LinkedIn, but.
Yes, in LinkedIn. I'm there and my profile is public. You can look for Juan Pablo at Kapturall and you will find me. And that's it. My boss says, you live in LinkedIn. No, not so much, but I'm really active there, trying to meet people and connect with people daily. That's part of my job.
That's great.
Well, awesome. And even if you're not in your ideal customer profile, connect with you, Juan Pablo, and see your process, right? Experience your process.
Oh, I'm also totally open to that, because in reality, I receive a lot of messages from people saying, "Oh, I've been watching your video. Can you train me? Can you teach me?" And I don't do that for a living. I just like to help people doing that, because I see the result, and I see people send some videos in some groups that I'm at, and I say, "Oh, that's a Juan Pablo influencing." So that's the good way. That can be improved. I'm always trying to help people in that, because I love it. I love to help people doing that, because the results are good for them when they do it in the way I consider is proper. But let me finish with the same thing I said the first few minutes. Things are evolving really fast. Maybe this works today, and in 3 months, because of the pollution, digital pollution that we are living into, people will be tired about video prospecting too. But we should find something human to contact with them from an authentic way. That's what I think.
Right.
I'll end my part on this. Sorry, Tom, is that as much as I like Loom or Vidyard, there's a big difference when you send somebody a direct message with the link to a video. They got to click it. LinkedIn says, you're about to leave LinkedIn. Are you sure you want to go? They have to say yes in order to get to your video. But when you just record your video here and you load the file on the mobile app, it goes directly to them. They could quickly watch it right inside their message, and you don't have to force them to leave. And I know in my data, when I first started using Vidyard and then moved to Loom and I was sending links, my click rates were a lot lower. take that little bit of time extra to record it as a file, I found is just much, the data is much better.
Way less friction, right? Way less friction than all the stuff that you just talked about. So, all right. Well, thanks again, Juan Pablo. We don't have Carson to wrap us up, Brandon, so I'm going to turn it over to you again.
Yeah, it's hard. I've got to figure out my own way to end it though without Carson, because it's the happy modern selling isn't my thing. It
doesn't quite come across the same way.
Yeah, my thing is going to be
maybe just a fist bump.
Yeah, I could do the fist bump, but my encouragement to people is, own your personal brand by being consistent. It opens doors. Own your personal brand.
All right.
Yes, that's good.
All right, Juan Pablo, go have dinner. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for listening.